provide our invocation tonight. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we humble ourselves before you at this time. Just thank you for bringing us all out tonight. We thank you that you're a God that knows about every little issue that we're concerned about. And we thank you for the display of citizens that have come out to show their support and concern over issues. We pray for the council tonight that you give them direction and just help them to make the decisions that will further the goals of the city and to be honoring to you. And we give you all the praise in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. The first item of business is to have the oath of office for council members. You want to do that all at one time? All those newly elected, if you come to the front. Stay in your seats. Oh, that's even better. Stand at your seats. Yeah.
Go ahead and raise your right hand. I state your name.
John Harrington.
Do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties as a public official
and faithfully discharge the duties as a public official
of the City of Bonner Springs, Kansas.
of the City of Bonner Springs, Kansas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
After we have these for signatures.
Yes. Congratulations, Chair. Thank you.
Do you have a flashback, Mike?
Next, we're going to shake your head.
Going right along to the next item, which are citizens' concerns about items not on tonight's agenda. This is an opportunity for anyone to stand and address the City Council on the open meeting about items that are not on the public agenda tonight. Yes, ma'am?
Janet Crouch, 13530 Metropolitan Avenue. Yeah, just want to clarify, because I am going to talk about the shelter. Is that, so that's off limits to talk about?
We have an animal control ordinance update coming,
Okay.
and then we have a Great Plains SPCA agreement coming up.
Okay.
So
Neither of those.
neither of those are specifically.
Okay. No, I'm not speaking to either of those items.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, since you prefaced that it could be what you're talking about tonight, that wasn't on it.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, I'm need to get a little unflustered by some of the stuff I just heard. I'm frustrated about the shelter because thank you for recognizing Bonner Animal Rescue, but I feel like, again, it's 8 years ago that services and help from other places are being addressed where you're going to have to pay for that assistance. But Bonner Animal Rescue is here to help and not charge you anything, which we have never done. And so that's very frustrating to me that, you know, great Humane Society and Leavenworth, you know, there's already discussion about costs involved there. And we've already offered whatever services that we have free of charge, which we've never charged the city for ever. So my frustration is, we're here. We're going to help. You know, I realize that you're in a bind right now for a few months. And I also realize that Dr. Slider has goals to move into the space that we're going to be no longer occupying. But that's still our space till April. Nobody's come to talk to us about that. And I feel like that we have a lot that we can resolve here by filling in a few of those holes. If someone would just pick up the phone and call us and talk to us, aside from animal control, which we've talked to the police department and animal control, that we have services that we can help you guys with. We're closing our doors to the public, which we announced in October, on December 31st. But Dr. Slider's full aware that we're going to maintain that space and occupy that space probably until at least April. So, you know, that means we're not moving our kennels out. You know, I don't know what arrangements can be made It's not going to be long-term, so everything that is being presented by the police department has to be addressed. But if there's a couple months in there while a shelter is being prepared, we can definitely see if, by sitting down at a table and talking, if there's anything that can be done with maybe utilizing some of our kennels that are going to be there, maybe empty by then. So we don't want to be invisible anymore. It's frustrating. That's the first thing that we thought of. It's like, we're here. Like, what's going on? We felt like we were chopped liver 8 years ago, and we're chopped liver now. They were willing to pay Humane Society 10 or 8 years ago, Humane Society $35, and we said, we'll do it for $25. And they would rather pay Humane Society, or whoever it was, yeah, it was Humane Society, $35. And we said, fine, we'll do it for free. And then there was, no argument. I mean, how are you going to argue free over? So we did it for almost 5 years. And we're here. We haven't gone anywhere. And we're still going to be there. We are closing our shelter. But as far as offering adoption services, as far as being that adoption facility, we're still going to maintain a rescue shelter license. Not a rescue license. We just won't have a physical building anymore after April. So while you're getting your shelter built, which is important to be done, there's not a reason why we can't negotiate or figure out some way that makes sure that every one of those animals get taken care of and don't get euthanized. That's our biggest problem right now, is that we don't want to go back to the ways it used to be. And I don't think, and I'm sorry, Jeff, or Harrington, I'm sorry, but I don't feel like that seeking out Humane Society, which is overwhelmed with animal control in KCK, or seeking out Leavenworth, which has never done anything to help to work with us in the past, as far as helping Wyandotte County or Bonner Springs animals. That's great that you can fall back, but we're right here. All these people are right here. We can help, and we won't charge you anything to do it. We've already offered our services. We've already offered our finances to do that. It's not going to cost you a dime to vaccinate any animal as soon as it comes out of impound. It's not going to cost you a dime to deworm them or flea treat them or take them to the vet or transport them wherever they need to go. It's not going to cost you anything to spay neuter them. And we'll facilitate the adoptions so that those animals are moved.
And I appreciate that, and we greatly appreciate all that you have done over the last 8 years, or however long we've been, 10 years we've been, you've been helping the city of Bonner Springs and surrounding communities. The closing of the facility, you won't be able to take the animals after they've been impounded. Is that correct?
That is correct. After April, yes, yes.
We need to
We
have
can't-
a plan
Correct.
to take care of the animals after the 4 days that we're going to maintain.
Correct.
And I think that's what we're in the process of trying to figure out.
So is that not the city's goal to, or possibly make the building that you're looking at having an impound, and then once they're done with their hold times, go into a different hold facility like Leavenworth Animal Control has, where they're held for their 4 days, and then they come out and they're in a different area for adoption where the public can actually walk in and adopt?
I don't believe we're planning at all to have an adoption facility. That's not something that is being looked at.
It's too bad, because we could help you do all of that. Everything that we're currently doing is exactly that. We did that when we
We're
were,
trying to accomplish maintaining a level of service to our community at a minimum financial expense for the taxpayers of Bonner Springs. And I appreciate all that you've done, but we have to have plans for impounding these animals. That's our primary goal. And then having a place for them to go after that.
I see that as being 20 feet to the east in the same building. If you don't
And
have,
I don't think that's the plan for that facility. I think that facility, the plan is to operate a pound or a kennel, not a shelter or a adoption agency.
you would, but we would be holding the license for all of the adoption part of it. So you wouldn't be, we would be taking them to adoption events, we would be having people there to facilitate adoption directly from there. Okay.
So.
Just offering an option, because I don't understand if the Humane Society comes back and can't take those animals, or Leavenworth can't take your animals, what are you going to do?
And
Are you going
so
to
we
use
were a little bit wondering if, we were hoping you would still be somewhere in the picture, but we didn't know for sure. It's good to have this kind of a conversation right
Absolutely, that's
now.
why I'm up here, because I thought we had made it clear when we were here the other day that we were closing the shelter, but Bonner Rescue was still going to continue and provide all those services to animal control.
Then,
But not having a place and having us have a place, but I don't believe we're going to be able to financially be able to maintain a place other than for
What is the-
impounding animals for 4 days.
What is the financial cost of maintaining it?
So if I can, we just met with the state today. So we had, up until today, absolutely no idea for what the requirements were going to be from any standpoint to offer adoption services or a pound or any other vernacular we want to throw at some place to take animals that are found by the city. This is all pretty, I think, new, especially to the council, as far as where this is at, because we haven't really even been able to brief you guys, the 9 of you, as far as what the conversation was on the night. With regard to what entity is able to come in and help facilitate adoptions or anything that works in that regard, I think our understanding from the city staff side was that we needed to find, and I guess to be fair, this isn't just about Bonner Animal Rescue, this is also about SPCA, which is on the agenda, so I don't want to get too much into that. But there is a cost associated with SPCA that we're going to have to deal with. But as far as what happens from impounding, which is the main issue that we're dealing with on the city level, we have a path forward right now, but we don't know what the cost of that is going to be. We just know at a minimum, state requirements are we have to hold an animal for 4 days, or if it needs these special considerations, we have to hold it for additional days. From an adoption standpoint, again, we're trying to find options that allow us to continue to adopt animals out, which I think the goal is for most people that we do not euthanize animals unnecessarily. So again, I guess what I'm trying to point out is that this is still a new issue. Unfortunately, it's probably long past due in terms of the conversation going on. But from the standpoint of what the city is doing, we're doing a lot in a truncated time frame. We've got a little bit more information as of today, as we talked about in the workshop. There's still a long road to hoe in terms of what we're going to do. Ultimately, I think the dialogue exists between the city and Bonner Animal Rescue, probably as best as it's been since you guys have been around, I would hope. And again, I think that dialogue will continue as we try to determine what is the best course of action for the city and the animals the city takes under its care.
That doesn't answer any of our questions really, or doesn't have any easy answers to any of those questions. But the main line that we've enjoyed before was Bonner Animal Rescue and the city's impounding at the local veterinarians were right there all together in a place that wasn't ours. Right now, we're trying to maintain that level of service that we were paying for. So an impounding of animals. The shelter is not something that we can finance. Maybe we can integrate it into the services that we're going to be providing, but we don't know what those expenses are going to be. So we need to look at what we can do and see what other options are available. And that's why we've enjoyed Bonner Animal Rescue helping us so much. I know for the last several years we've been taking animals to Wayside Waifs at
Great
Plains. Great Plains, I'm sorry, at $85 animal or whatever, and that was through your all's help also. So, I mean, those are things that we need to remedy in the future, because that's not sustainable in the future.
I'm just telling you from a rescue standpoint, relying on other rescues to be that safety net is really pretty much shaky ground. I mean, Greater Kansas CA you couldn't rely on, Humane Society of Greater Kansas City before you can rely on. I don't know how you're going to rely on them now because they have animal control for Wyandotte County that's so overwhelmed right now they help with. It just makes sense how Leavenworth did it, is they created an animal control shelter, and once those animals are done at their impound in the shelter, they literally move about 15 feet over to the adoption area where the public can walk in the door and adopt. And if animal control doesn't want to facilitate that, or the city can't support that, because they're just not able to do that legally or whatever, that's why you have co-op with a rescue like ours who has the license and the experience to be able to do those things. And the reason I keep hammering it's like what expense is because all you're doing is moving those animals from one side of the building to another when you already have staff there in the building and you already own the building. And we're donating everything from our facility to that side of the building, including our services. So you're not out any money. I don't understand where that's going to really up your money, because it's going to up your budget if you have to again pay another shelter to take your animals, where you're not charging yourself to keep the animal and move it 15 feet on the other side of a wall and put it in another cage, which we will then come in and make sure that the animal is fully vetted, spayed and neutered, microchipped, dewormed, and found a home for without costing the city a dime.
I could use an example.
Thank you.
We recently had a Great Pyrenees that was dumped down. We had a picture of somebody dumping him out. We held him for his 4 days. Through the power of social media and Bonner Animal Rescue, that dog's already been fostered, he's been vaccinated, and that's at no cost to the city. So instead of spending $86 to send him to Great Plains, we asked Bonner Animal Rescue, who then facilitated all of his vet work, adopted him out. It cost us nothing.
Correct.
So I think we could do that same thing in the same building together.
Yeah, and we
if I could hand out these, we have like I made up a kind of what it could look like at South Park. That's also all stuff from the Department of Agriculture, what they gave us. But that last page kind of shows a rough draft of what could be with the space there.
And we have a 20-home foster system also. So if there is a dog, say you have a dog come over from impound side into the adoption side, and it has been there for a while, and there is a parameter. The dogs can only be there for maybe a month or two. If it hasn't been adopted, our dog coordinators have a network of other rescues that we can immediately transfer that dog to another rescue, knowing that it's a hard placement dog, and or put it into a foster home. So if you get 7 dogs in and we only have 4-3 kennels, then we will work working with us. We can get those dogs moved into fosters, so they're not occupying those kennels. Or we can also, which we have done in the past, pay to board those dogs outside of our rescue even. If we have a dog that we don't even want to keep in our shelter, we will pay Anapals then to board it, because we get a rescue rate of $10 a night, which is almost half of what you're paying Dr. Slider to board dogs. So our connections and our people and the services that we can bring to this city are very valuable as far as I mean, you put the numbers to paper. I mean, we're telling you this is free. And I don't know how to yell it anymore or say it anymore or present it any different way. We've got all of these services and we're offering them for free. And I think we've established a very good record that we're not just standing up here blowing hot air.
Thank you.
Can I answer any questions? Thank you.
Have you contacted the state of Kansas just to say, we are involved with Bonner, and we know that we're going into a new facility, and
You mean as far as us working with them we have not done that yet. Our shelter license is actually good until September of next year. So we can occupy our shelter, our current shelter where we're at. And, I know, like I said, Dr. Slider probably, saw stars and rainbows like, oh, he's been wanting that back area that we have for quite some time. But knowing Dr. Slider, that it'll be a year or so from now before anything is ever done with it, even after we move out. But we're not, I told him, I said, we're going to close to the public in the end of December, but we're not leaving until April. He knows that. So, because we still have animals down there. I still have 15 cats down there that we have to rehome.
One dog.
And a dog.
Well, I'll speak, thank you, Sean, for the clarification. That was actually, for myself, was tremendously clarifying. I thought when you came in last time, it was done, you were walking away,
Yeah.
you'll give us your stuff. I didn't hear anything about future, so I must have missed that, and so this is very enlightening to me, because I thought you were like, we can't do it anymore, we're out, you can have our stuff for free, which is very generous.
Yeah, but I did say that we're still going to continue as a rescue, and we are going to be there to offer our services in working into animal control, so that we can continue to vet, and I know I said all that. But anyway, yeah, if all you heard was that, then that's terrible.
Well, that's just me, I don't know what everybody else heard, I'm
Yeah.
just speaking, but Sean clarifying that, so this is all brand new to me,
Yeah.
right now.
This sounds wonderful to me.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
The city manager, what are the rules, state regulations in regards to a facility being used for both the impounding as well as adoption?
You have to have separated areas similar to how you have to have, so if we impound an animal that's a vicious animal that's bit somebody, we have to put them in a quarantine type of area. Once they go in, it's basically, as Janet alluded to, it's a 15-foot move. It just needs to have some type of partition or separation between the two. As far as the city being part of it, as the chief alluded to, that's a little bit more of a pickle. To be clear, we haven't gone through and exhausted all the options in terms of who we could partner with for adoption. We just know as a city that we don't want to be the adopting agency. We want to partner with somebody. So whether or not that's BAR or Humane Society or some other entity we haven't determined yet, that conversation hasn't occurred yet because we've just had a conversation with the state today that the facility that we were looking at was even a potential solution to our current issue, which again, our current issue is what do we do with animals January 1st.
Right.
And January 1st, we are still going to be in our location. And if we want to sit down and have a conversation to see what we can do to help you in that interim until you establish your shelter, we are happy to do that.
And I think that that's probably something that we want to do that, and I think that's, as Mr. Kipp alluded to, that's news to me as well. I think I heard the same thing that you all did as well, is that the facility was closing to the public January 1st. So whether that, if that meant that you were still going to be in operation until April, that's news to me. I think that given that fact, perhaps we could have a conversation with BARD and ask whether or not their volunteer pool is still going to be able to provide that level of service as they've been able to provide it in the past for an additional few months while we try to figure out what we're going to do as a long-term solution for the city impound facility.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Please.
Stephen Christopher, 210 North Elm, a property that's only changed hands twice in the past 115 years. I've come from Johnson County about 2 years ago with the intention of buying that property and potentially hopefully make it into a rental. I have two concerns I want to express tonight, neither of which I'm looking for a resolution, but only just to bring it to your attention. First, I was here about 6 months before I got my first real water bill. Ever since then, I've had a struggle with what I believe is the usage. I'm not going to try to ask for any resolution on that tonight, but I'm going to ask about two practices. One is the practice wherein you guys send out a second bill within about 5 to 7 days, which I know there's a cost associated with that, and then you all turn off people's water. I'm curious, within your regulations, Or do you allow that because you actually make a home uninhabitable? And how often does that occur in this community? I find in other communities that I've been engaged with, of which I have properties in Johnson County, they don't do that. They would never turn the water off unless you're just extremely in arrears. So I'm curious about that practice, and I'd be open to have further discussion with somebody if I could be directed to it, as far as possibly looking at that particular policy. I'll give you an example. In Johnson County, they used to have a practice wherein if you had a broken water line and you used a certain number of gallons, they looked over that amount as far as understanding that sometimes you can't get things turned off in a timely manner. And so consequently, they looked at the bill. It was something that was on the books from, I think, 1965. And I worked with, in this case, Olathe, as far as for them to be able to make changes and understand that sometimes you have to relook at some things as far as maybe what the practice is. Secondly, having moved here again from Johnson County, I got this is a unified government and possibly a Bonner Springs as well. I have not investigated it, but I just hold the bill in my hand. My taxes for my property went up 67% this year. And the largest percentage of that was for the school system here in this town. My question is has anybody else walked up to this particular place and asked about that? I realize it's a unified government bill, but the largest percentage was going towards the school system here. We do not use the school system here. We actually, our family uses Sacred Heart. It's not that we would not choose to use the system, it's just that we're involved in the Catholic schools. My concern would be is that for other folks that may be looking to downsize to come to a nice community such as this, that if their tax bill is as much as their home that they might have left in Johnson County, for that cost between 2 and 3 times as much, that maybe they might look a second time as far as possibly moving to the community. So I'm hoping that you all, when you're looking over your how you allocate funding or how you allocate taxes, that you know that you look at the overall picture, because it would make it prohibitive for me to rent this house with what would be a $300 a month property tax bill in a community where rentals are probably around $1,000. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, those are very important issues. I would refer you to Sean Peterson, our city manager, with concerns about your water bill, and he can put you in touch with the right people.
I'm working through, I've been with Tilly, Chuck, Barb, the people at the front desk. It's been something for about 18 months I've been trying to work through, and I just haven't come to a resolution.
Very good. Anyone else that would like to stand and address the city council? Seeing none, we'll move along to our consent agenda this evening. Our consent agenda includes the minutes of the November 25th city council meeting, claims for city operation, claims for public housing authority, authorize the city manager to sign claims for year-end 2019, the resolution 2019-12 to write off uncollected accounts payable and payroll warrants, write off uncollected accounts for utilities, weeds, and miscellaneous. Resolution number 2019-15 to write off uncollected public housing accounts. The Unified Government Contract for Senior Center Funds for 2018. City Council meeting dates and holidays for 2020. Massage Therapy Business Establishment and License Renewal for Bodyworks Massage. Appointments to boards and commissions, and the cereal malt beverage renewals for 2020. I would entertain a motion. Anyone from the citizens like to poll any of those items from the consent agenda? None. Staff? None. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
Second. Moved and seconded. Concerns or comments? Questions, I guess? Seeing none? Oh, one.
The only comment I would make is if you could make it known to the public that on the items where we are writing accounts, that those still have the possibility of being collected.
Yes.
We're just not doing away with them totally.
Right.
Other than that.
Right, but it's just an end of the year straightening things up,
Yep.
and yeah, they're still looking at it, yeah.
Correct. Anything else? Vote please.
Gurley? Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Chip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to our regular meeting agenda, the first of which, Ready Services IRB ordinance. Staff.
Amber McCullough. This item comes before you as the kind of end to the IRB process for Ready Services. It was first brought to you in May of 2018. We held a public hearing per the statute for the intent to issue industrial revenue bonds to construct and equip a commercial facility, pretty much an expansion of Ready Services in the industrial park. In January and November, we extended their resolutions of intent through the end of this year. They currently go through December 21st to allow them to wrap up the project and before they issue the industrial revenue bonds. The total project was $2.2 million, and that's what the bonds are anticipated to be issued for. We have Adrian Serene here with QTAC Rock also on council if you have any questions regarding the IRB.
Very good. Thank you. Anything to be added by the citizens? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance authorizing the city to issue industrial revenue bonds, Series 2019, in the principal amount of $2,200,000 for the Ready Services project.
Second. Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comment, and we'll start here with.
I'm glad to see they're finishing up.
Welcome to Bonner.
Anything else? Vote please.
Stevens?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Reeves?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Hip?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to agenda item number 2. Board of Zoning Appeals, number 143, rezoning request for Wilkerson Crane headquarters.
Hi, Rachel Klein, City Planner. This is a request to rezone a piece of property about 6 acres located on the south side of Gibbs Road, just east of 147th Street. Wilkerson Crane already owns the adjacent parcel, some, I want to say 17 acres. The 6-acre parcel was owned by a local church, and they are not moving forward and have sold the property. So the owner of, the now owner, the Wilkerson Crane, have requested to rezone that 6-acre parcel from R1, which is residential single family, to IL, which is light industrial district, which is what the property adjacent to it currently is. The planning commission did meet with this. We did have a public hearing, and there were some questions that the public brought forward, most of which, all of which will be addressed when the site and landscape plan review is done. I think more just concerned that there was some sort of review and regulations taking place because of the narrowness of K32. The planning commission felt that staff would ensure that the process that exists will be carried out. Here we have Ryan Demetz, he's with RIC and representing Wilkerson Crane. If you guys have any questions, he's the engineer and project manager, and I'm available if you have any questions on the zoning request.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Anything to add from the citizens? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve an ordinance to rezone approximately 6.4 acres at 14011 Gibbs Road from R1 Residential Single Family District to IL Light Industrial District.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comment? We'll start right here.
Is this property, not this piece property, the original piece property has changed hands? Has that been part of the reason that it's been stalled?
The church just sold it.
No, not this piece,
she's
the
talking
original
original.
piece, where they
From what I
did some grading work and some ground prep and then it just stopped.
Right. With obtaining the 6 acres and hopefully getting the rezoning, this will be the headquarters. They're relocating all of their scattered facilities to this one for office space, maintenance, and then storage of the equipment.
So the sale of this piece, this 6.4 acre parcel's been in the works for a while. That's what's kind of held up the progress.
No, so there was a design change, and so it kind of got put on the shelf until we figured out some issues, mostly budgetary, to bring the project back in with the budget. So that original 17 acres is still the same owners. They just had an opportunity to purchase the extra 6 acres from the church. And in their, pardon me, in their looking toward the future, they wanted to be able to have access to that land as well, for potential development.
I just know they've been sitting with no activity for quite a while.
Yeah, no, they're excited to be back up and running again.
No questions?
Just make note that, I know one of the concerns was the updating of the county's lands website, but it has been updated, and it now reflects properly the ownership.
And the church doesn't have a problem with any changes?
The church sold the property.
The church is not the owner anymore.
No, they really don't have a
They took their problems all the way to the bank.
Seeing nothing
I
else?
guess I have,
No other questions? Vote please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Reeves?
yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, good luck. Thank you. On to item number 3, a resolution number 2019-13 for an interlocal agreement with the Unified Government for wastewater connections.
Amber McCullough. Staff has been working with Unified Government and the developers for a few months now to find a solution for wastewater services for the proposed Bonham Crossings development at 118th and State on the southwest corner of that intersection. We have negotiated with the Unified Government to connect to their wastewater collection system at a single point. The agreement was approved by the UG Standing Committee on December 9th, and December 12th it went before their full commission. Both committee and commission provided unanimous approval for the agreement, pass the resolution. The agreement establishes the rate of service, which will be billed to the end users, the residents and the businesses there. And then it includes a monthly service fee as well. The city can still then charge impact fees unless you waive them in the future through an incentive agreement that is still to be discussed in the future. We haven't waived anything at this point. We're just asking to adopt that same resolution that the UG passed to fund this, or get this interlocal agreement through and get the sewer connection established.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve a resolution number 2019-13 for an interlocal agreement with the Unified Government for wastewater connection.
Second.
Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start right here.
No, it sounded in the 27 pages of the script, sounds very well planned out.
Break it down to English. So, we're going to connect to the UG's wastewater system.
We are.
They will bill us, and we'll bill the residents and bill for occupants of that property through our standard wastewater billing system.
Through our billing system. They'll have a different rate than other locations. But
And then we have the option of an impact fee billed to them.
we typically charge an impact fee to new developments based on the different mains and meter sizes that go in. So that we did the agreement the way that it is here so that we could bill those, because on our side of the system we maintain it. And then once it hits the UG system, then they process the flows.
Is that a one-time fee?
The impact fees? The impact fees are something that we would charge that would be a one-time fee to the developer.
No questions. I just want to thank staff. I know this has been a labor of love for you too. We can now move forward with getting that development hopefully going at 118th and State Avenue. So thank you very much. So, nothing else.
Very good. No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote please.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Freeze?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I guess congratulations to Bonner Crossing. Next item on the agenda, a resolution to approve the Public Housing Authority 2020 operating budget. Staff.
Mayor, Council, Tilly LaPlante, Finance Director. Carrie Frederickson wasn't able to make it tonight, so I'm going to present the 2020 PHA operating budget. And this budget reflects a carryover to 2021 of 9.61 months expenditures. We don't know the subsidy until next year sometime, so we have in the budget estimated lower than what we've got in the last few years, just conservatively. Since we're a small housing authority, we're awarded capital funds, and those are able to go into our operations, but we've always budgeted them to be spent on capital. We haven't spent any of our capital funds since 2018. So in the 2020 budget, there's $200,000 for betterments and additions. So though it shows a deficit of $178,000, really we're operating wise, we're $22,000 to the good. So staff was recommending to approve the 2020 budget as presented.
Thank you very much. Any input, questions, concerns from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the HUD resolution approving the Public Housing Authority operating budget for FY 20.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Thanks for clarifying the $178,000 deficit. I didn't understand that.
I was having trouble with that.
Okay.
Deficit means. No, I'm fine now.
No other questions, concerns? Vote please.
Freeze?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to item number 5, the pay scale seasonal staff. Staff?
Hi. Hello, Mayor, City Council. I'm Justine Spees, Recreation Manager. Tonight I have the part-time and seasonal pay scale for recreation staff. In the past it's been becoming increasingly difficult to hire and maintain seasonal and part-time employees for the recreation department. Last year we were able to kind of overcome some of that with the aquatic staff, raising the minimum pay or the starting wage for aquatic staff. We saw the need to do that for the remaining of our part-time and seasonal workers. And along with raising the minimum starting wage, also kind of implementing a professionalized pay scale, something they can look at and say, if I stay on here X amount of years or I meet the requirements for the next step, here's what I need to do for that. This was budgeted for the 2020 within consideration for returning staff, also maximum hours available. And that scale is attached for you in your memo.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anything additional? No? Anything from the citizens? Questions, concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve a pay scale for part-time and seasonal staff in the Recreation Department.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start again with you, Councilman Hughes.
It's important that we have qualified staff, and you got to keep up with everyone else around us. So.
Thanks. Congrats on your CPM too.
Yeah.
What was there before? Was there just nothing?
There was a starting wage, but there was no cap on there. I couldn't find anything, no record of any sort of formalized pay scale for our staff.
I really hope it incentivizes people to come back, they think about that next year and get more. So thank you for doing that.
what they're saying. Keep the good ones. Yeah.
I know hindsight's 20/20, but how close, I noticed that you said that there was, we wanted to be competitive. I know we're not Johnson County or Lawrence or anyplace else, we're our own entity, but how close is this to either towns of our size, surrounding areas? How did you go about establishing?
I looked at Johnson County, also looked at other areas in Wyandotte and also our surrounding KC metro areas. I looked also at Missouri side as well. With Missouri implementing their new minimum wage at $12, we might be losing some staff over to the other state. That is going to affect not only our department, but also recreation departments across our area. We are fairly competitive now, for now.
Good.
Yes.
Good job.
Nothing else? Seeing any? Oh, please.
Can I just ask, I did sneak this in on Justine on Friday when I was reviewing it, but we did have one additional seasonal position, and that is our maintenance workers that we hire within Public Works. So if I could just ask that this isn't just a motion for part-time and seasonal staff in the rec department, it's just for the city. So just to clarify that for everybody, if I could just ask for an amended motion to make a motion to approve a pay scale for part-time and seasonal staff.
I'm willing to amend the motion. And I don't know who seconded it.
Very good. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, if you'd reread that motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the pay scale for part-time and seasonal staff.
That's how I read. All right. Very good. Vote, please.
Kidd?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. On to item number 6, our animal control ordinance update.
Mr. Mayor, Billy Knapp, Chief of Police.
You skipped one.
Six was radar.
It's the radar.
Oh, on the new updated one, I have animal control as number 6 and radar LiDAR as number 7.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Which one would you like?
That's all right. Let's go ahead with number 6, the updated agenda.
Okay.
Animal control ordinance update, please.
The Bonner Springs Police Department, with the assistance of Kendra and the city attorney and Amber, is trying to update our current existing animal code. A lot of the updates were trying to consolidate things that were kind of duplicitous throughout the code, as well as numbers that were wrong, different things like that. Some big key changes, make sure I got them listed correctly, is tethering. Tethering ordinance for extreme weather, breeder's license for unaltered pets, rescue of animals from hot vehicles, and chicken and livestock animals are now covered under the changes in the ordinance. Happy to answer any questions I can for you.
The tethering looked like it wasn't allowed.
There wasn't anything specific for extreme weather conditions, too hot, too cold. So now, when it's too hot, too cold, or there's a weather advisory, they won't be allowed to tether.
Okay, that's what I saw.
In those conditions.
It's a long ordinance, pretty specific. Thank you for all the concern and input. I was skimming over it pretty quick.
Yeah, I haven't read it all. You're honest.
Pretty good. Thank you very much. Anything to add from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, at this point in time, I'd like to ask what the qualification is that I know many of the council members, the document they got did not show in legislative style what the changes actually were. And so it's very hard for many of them to understand what may have changed. And I know we have a lot of people here, but I think it would only be fair if the council had a chance to really review that document to understand fully what all the changes. So I would ask for the item to be tabled until next meeting.
Very good.
I second. You need one on the table?
Moved and seconded to table. That doesn't require require discussion.
Can't have anything.
And so we'll go ahead and have a vote to table it to the next meeting.
I think it'd be time to, everybody can then get the copy of the legislative document.
Exactly where changes are.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can, if you have difficulty with that, you can ask Christina to give you a copy, a printed copy of that that shows it legislative style. From what I understand from Councilperson Gurley, when she went on to Word and printed it off of Word, it came up that way. So it's not showing on the HTML feed that we have here. That's my
And
understanding.
we'll try to send out as a PDF or something and make sure that you guys are actually getting
The
the
changes.
markups there.
Yeah. Very good. Vote, please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Gurley? Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion to table it passed.
Good. Moving on to our agenda item number 7, which is radar LiDAR upgrade. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Billy Knapp, Chief of Police. The Bonner Springs Police Department uses both radar and LiDAR technology for their speed enforcement and traffic safety program. In analysis of our current equipment, most of it is either 10 years old or exceeding 10 years. That technology has drastically changed in 10 years. So we are looking for authorization to upgrade that through existing budget savings that we found in the 2019 budget. Was able to use a contact of mine with Custom Signals, who holds a state contract, and they were the best price for those types of systems. You have, so for 4 LiDARs, the 9,340, we actually got an updated quote. They were able to provide us some additional savings for $8,600 for those 4. The 4 Eagle radars at $9,820. We also qualified for STEP funds. As part of this, for a special traffic enforcement program we participate in. The May program of that gives funds back to the agency for their efforts throughout the year. We qualified for $2,994 in reimbursement. So we'll be able to apply that towards the total, and the city will be able to get that money back towards that program. I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Very good. Thank you. Anything to add from the citizens? Questions, concerns, input? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion authorizing the purchase of radar, LiDAR from Custom Signals.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comment? We'll start over here.
No.
What happens to the old equipment?
We'll still use it and maintain it in the interim. It's still serviceable, passes its state certification every year. The question now is, do we repair it? It doesn't. Most of it's pretty dated, even the Custom Signals, because that's where they came from before. A lot of times they're like, it's not worth, fixing it at this point. Just replace it.
Yeah.
Left field.
Do your computer.
That they use on my car.
Stick it in that trailer. The speed trailer. No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote, please.
Gurley?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Does that department use it for things? But they could.
Good idea.
Moving on to item number 8, the Great Plains SPCA agreement. Chief.
Billy Knapp, Chief of Police. Approximately 1 month ago, we participated in a workshop. At that time, I advised the Great Plains intention to eliminate the contract with the City of Bonner Springs. I was asked to meet with Great Plains. I met with Great Plains, Tim Singer, the Chief Executive Officer, and one of the bookkeeping employees on November 21st, 2019. During that meeting, Ms. Singer advised that Bonner Springs alone is the most expensive contract that they have with any other city in the Johnson County area. She also advised us at that time that the rate per animal would increase to $730 per animal effective January 1st, 2020 to continue to provide care, which is an 820% increase from the $89 that we're currently paying. We asked for an agreement from Ms. Singer, and Great Plains. When I received that on December 11th, as you can see, it was for a flat rate of $835 per animal, which is a 938% increase. Plus, there's numerous items of additional expense that get attached to that we would be responsible for paying. As we discussed at length, we're looking at approximately 100 to 125 animals annually that we deal with. That number would be approximately $104,000 to deal with Great Plains if we continue on with an agreement with them. My position is that we do not continue on with an agreement with Great Plains simply because our budget will not support that by any means. We took 5 animals a day. I met with them. That would have cost $6,000, which would have depleted a little over 50% of the actual animal control budget for the year in one day. So moving forward, my recommendation is not to proceed with the agreement.
Very good. And it would end if we didn't make a motion to authorize this. So it would just, we don't have to have a motion to not authorize it. We would just not have them, just if there fails to be a motion that survives.
Correct.
Very good. Anything else? I'm sorry. Anything from the citizens? Input, questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none. Do we need a motion on the record to say we're not?
I don't think so.
So that we have something black and white?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we do not pass an agreement with Great Plains.
The motion will be in the positive and then the,
Yeah, you should make motions to that.
you don't have to pass them before.
If we have to do that.
If you don't feel comfortable, I'll do it.
I just want to do it. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize execution of agreement with Great Plains SPCA.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start right here.
Thank you for doing the math for us. Clear. Would we have 400 ounces?
Do you keep it just to have a backup emergency? I mean, even though it's extortion almost, but, I mean, what harm does it say to say we can drop animals there if the whole world goes haywire?
Great Plains has offered, as I said in the workshop, to take animals on a case-by-case basis from us. They want to basically, whatever their clientele decides that they want, so if my wife likes Yorkie. So if a Yorkie came in and they had a customer that wanted a Yorkie, they would come hand select it. They'll continue to do that if they can hand select. But my impression from them is they don't have a desire to have an agreement with us. Was my impression from them.
Why do our animals cost more? I mean, why'd they say we're an expensive contract? Do we have?
She says that basically the animals that we're bringing in require more care than any other animal in Johnson County.
Really?
I personally find it hard to hear, but that is the assertion that we got.
I mean, is there other cities using them
Yes.
outside?
Yeah, every city in Johnson County has an agreement with them. I did learn recently, though, that a lot of their numbers went up, and there's going to probably be some decisions made by those cities as well due to increases in cost.
They come in with a gold chain.
Probably preaching to the choir, but I think we've got options. We've got Barr, we've got Leavenworth, we've got Wyandotte. We'll figure out in the next few months the direction we head. I can't see continuing forward with Great Plains at this point in time.
Anything else? Sir? Nothing? Nothing else? Vote, please.
Thompson?
No.
Shannon?
No.
Wood?
No.
Stevens?
No.
Reeves?
No.
Gurley?
No.
Kip?
No.
Motion failed.
Unanimously failed. That happens. The unanimous part is the part that
Tom will
happens.
take them for $800.
Right.
Also, I remember saying that the 2020 updates to the city fee schedule.
The city has previously moved to a majority of the fees being charged for various items into a fee schedule set by a single resolution prior to that. So prior to each start of the new fiscal year, the city clerk work to distribute the city fee schedule to department heads to adjust and review and adjust. This is in twofold process to make sure that we're in line with other cities, while also ensuring that we're covering costs as appropriate. You'll see that's a pretty exhaustive list attached for your guys' consideration. We are recommending collectively as a staff for approval. Happy to answer questions.
Very good, thank you. Anything to add from citizens concerning the fees? Yes, please.
Does that fee schedule include the water services?
I would imagine so. We just referred to
Water rate connection fee after hours, water rate reconnection fee, water rate relocation, water meter relocation, water rate connect fee, water rate termination fee.
Yeah, it includes the fees. We typically set new fees. They're approved during the budget cycle or the budget process, which was latter part of the summer, fall, and then we'll be back in April with any adjustments to that. Also, we are doing a review of rate, a third-party review of our rates, both water, wastewater, and this year stormwater. Hopefully we'll have an update on that in the next several weeks. But again, the plan would be to have those adjusted in April.
So yes. Any other questions, concerns, comments from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-11, amending the city fee schedule.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? And I think we'll start over here this time. I'm trying to even it all out.
Just seeing the number of things that are done by the city makes me respect the city more.
I do want it noted, not everything is increased. It's some of the items have increased, not all of them. Ma'am?
No.
Considering that we tabled the animal control ordinance, are any of the numbers on here related to that ordinance having been passed?
We'll do like the breeder's license, I believe is on there, on the fee schedule, as well as the ordinance.
Should that be a concern?
I think the breeder's license was pulled off the ordinance, if I remember correctly. The ordinance establishes the breeder's license process, but I think the fee, if it's out of the ordinance, yeah, that was.
Yeah, I don't think the ordinance has changed regarding the breeder's license.
Yeah, so it's
just the fee.
Yeah, so the fee would just change as part of this fee schedule, but the ordinance establishes the ability to charge a fee is it, but that's.
I do know there are some relabeling where I think the animal license now got changed to, I think, what, I'd have to look on here. I just didn't know if that was an issue, if the ordinance hasn't been passed yet.
I would probably contend that it's probably going to be okay. It's semantics.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on proper grounds.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, that'd be it.
Sir? Nothing? No other questions, concerns, comments regarding the fees? Vote, please.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. That comes to the end of our agenda items. Now for our reports, the first of which, the city manager's report.
I don't want to read the whole report, but there's a lot of good information in there. Things that I will just point out is we are moving forward, continue to move forward with our K-9 program. That was a budgeted expenditure for 2020, was to replace K-9 Scout with a K-9 to be named. It's not his name, but we're on it. But we are starting that process here the next couple of weeks to move forward with that revamping of the invaluable asset and program for the city. Also, want to note we are closed Christmas Day and then New Year's Day coming up in the next couple of weeks here. As it was alluded to earlier with Ms. Spies, both her and then Matt Dietz recently completed the KU Certified Public Manager Program. This is just a great program that is a testament to those individuals' ability to continue to lead in this organization, and also is a nationally recognized management excellence. So I just wanted to congratulate them and make sure everybody's aware of that success. Also, I apologize for my phone going off earlier in the meeting today, but that was USD 204, noting that there will be a 2-hour delay in school tomorrow. So if anybody needed to make sure,
Oh, okay.
so I have a valid reason for why my phone went off. Also want to point out there are 2 additional copies, maps, reports, what have you. One pertaining to codes in the city that shows just statistically the number of items that we're dealing with sort of nuisance-related community development type codes, as well as a map that you guys can tangibly see where the enforcement is at. You'll notice that there's not one particular area that is being isolated. It's throughout the community, which from an enforcement standpoint is a good thing. I will, and then also the development schedule. That's something that we've had in the past. Both of these updates are things that I've asked for those individuals who oversee those functions for the city to give to us monthly, for monthly updates following the end of the month, first council meeting. Easy way to say that. And then last but not, well, I've got 2 more things. Waste management, we have the garbage out tonight. There's not going to be picking up tomorrow. It'll be picked up on Wednesday. We will send something out we have already on social media, just noting that was released, I think, on Fox 4 and a few other news outlets, but we did get that confirmed just a little bit ago from Waste Management. And then,
So I think they're delayed because of the weather.
yes.
The whole system is
Everything will
delayed
be
by a
pushed,
day?
well, everything will be pushed to a day. Yep.
Okay.
And then, last but not least, Amber gave me a fun fact, but last meeting of the executive is today. So appreciate being with you all tonight. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. City council items, Mr.
Very good, sir.
Very good.
Nothing additional.
Thank you for the updates on the progress. Anything outside of the obvious, that we got the connection agreement, anything moving up there, anything pending with us?
With 118th and State, not necessarily. We do have a development agreement that has been approved by you all. That was one matter that was still needing to get ironed out, was the sewer, which is specified within the development agreement. So now we can move forward with getting that signed. It's our understanding that they're hoping to next apply for a grading road change permit, and that would likely start to see some action up there, hopefully within the next 60 days.
Thank you.
Are all of these code enforcement report numbers, all of these cases are all being handled by Officer Stites single-handedly?
Some of them are with IBTS as well, so that does include some of the efforts that they've done collectively. The vast majority of those are going to be Stites. And that's one thing I think that I'm trying to help everybody in the community understand, is that code enforcement is a difficult endeavor, to say the least, and it involves a lot of things. It also involves a lot of time, because often it's considered case management. You're trying to work with people to resolve issues. So, but yeah, this is just a snapshot of just the month of November.
That's a huge workload.
I think we had a good meeting tonight because I think several problems are on their way to being solved. And I want to thank Bonner Animal Rescue again for their work.
Two quick, Sean, looking at this that Danny alluded to, what are the numbers and the alphabet letters represent on this?
So there's actually a spreadsheet on the back end that actually has A, B, C, D, E, F, G of each property address. So that's just a designating. I wouldn't pay much mind to that for the purposes of what you're seeing there. It's just the color, and then the dot just shows
Yeah.
the specific area.
Question to go along with that. Okay, I'm gonna step on some toes, but I'll do it anyway. How much help is ITDS or IBTS? How much are they out here to help Mark? Because this is a huge load that this man is trying to
I think,
to deal with.
again, I can't say for certain how many, but I know quite a few of these over the last, or at least the month of November did include IBTS numbers. Is that accurate?
They have been sending staff to go around with Mark. The good thing is, unless they take on a case, we're not being charged. So they're assisting him in finding areas that need to be addressed, and those more building codes that he is less familiar with. But at this point, we have yet to receive an invoice for any work that they've done for that.
Yeah, because I believe we contracted with them, but
We did, and the contract states it's on a case-by-case basis on the ones that they handle.
Okay, well,
specifically.
I guess I'll ask on behalf of all of us if all of you could kind of keep us in the loop, or kind of keep an eye on things, because this is a huge load for Mark to do it. And I would like to think that if they, I know as you said they weren't charging anything at this point, but still, not sure how the contract read, but just
I'm sorry. One thing to kind of be mindful of is when we put this contract together, we didn't budget for them to take on the cases. I kind of outlined about $15,000 of funds that we could put towards it, which would not even put a dent in many of the cases that they would handle for us. So if that's something that we want to fund in the future, that would need to be looked at future budgets.
but I'll just back on.
Well, I think one of the general intents of that contract was to get things in line where they'd be more manageable, and to have them work on some of the more difficult concerns, and even improve our processes and procedures that would refine that whole codes enforcement process and make it more manageable for our department to do. The low-hanging fruit, I don't think any of us need any help with or recognizing. It's the more difficult, laborious concerns with code enforcement.
And that's exactly right. There are certain ones that are just much more intensive. Without going into great detail, we're dealing with a particular property that had traded hands. However, the person that was previously part of the property ownership didn't feel that way. But so we have to work with the sheriff's department, because they're actually the ones that will come and remove somebody from that house. That became just a wonderful situation, as you guys can imagine, complicated by other factors as well. But again, that's what I mean by the case management of this, and I think as the mayor's alluding to, those are the cases that become much more of an issue from an adjudication process, and what we have to do from a legal standpoint, not just simply going and posting on somebody's house and saying, clean up your trash, or cut your grass.
Because it's weed season right now. I mean, in just a few short months, there's going to be weeds growing everywhere.
Snow removal right now.
It's always something, right?
I did have also that, this was brought to me by Gloria Choa, the senior citizen, that Alice Zimmerman passed away Tuesday evening at Sweet Life Nursing Home. And she was 97 and had been coming to the senior center for over 25 years. And the service will be at Risen Savior Lutheran Church in Basel, I believe tomorrow at 11 a.m. That was one. And Von Trent welcomed the coats donated, and some are already being put to use. That they coordinated that. And also Bonner Springs High School very much appreciated the toiletry bags. and they were distributed, at least half of them have been distributed, and they were very appreciative. So that's it on the old folks.
Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna ask a question about the new K-9. If I remember right, Scout is a Malinois.
He is actually a Dutch Shepherd Malinois hybrid.
Is the new K-9 gonna be a similar breed?
We're hoping so. There's a couple different breeds that are out there now that kind of dogs develop differently, and they try different types of breeds. Steve Pearsons is one of the leading experts in canine in the country. As I noted, he goes to Slovakia every year and picks dog-specific traits and things. He is aware, he trained Scout originally, so he knows what we're looking for. So we, at least from a mannerism, we want something similar to Scout.
Okay.
Instead of like the dog, I call them highway patrol dogs because they get them from Texas, that bite you through the, we don't want that. We want some with a similar.
That was
demeanor
my
Scout.
question, since he said Scout's such a PR fixture, I wanted to make sure we were gonna stay on that vein.
Yes. Those are traits that they look for. It's interesting, all the components to the different tools that you use specifically came out.
Great, thank you.
Nothing else. The mayor's report. I've received many compliments on the Christmas Candy Cane Lane and the Christmas parade, as well as the mayor's tree lighting, and I'd like to thank the city, all of the city, but specifically the Parks and Recreation and the utility workers that put that all together. So it was very nice and very well received. Hopefully we'll be able to integrate that as part of a downtown business, economic development, business retention tool that we could use to help those businesses have more opportunities. I didn't see a lot of input from that specific part of the community, but I think there's still some potential for that. So it's something that will take a lot of working with different groups, and I think that's something that has that potential. Also, the snow removal that we had across the city today, I received several compliments on how ours seemed to be better than other parts of our neighboring communities. I tried to take absolutely no responsibility for that and pushed it all off on the utility department or public works, even though I had a shovel in my hand when I got there. I continue to get a lot of benefit from the Johnson and Wyandotte County Mayors Association meetings that we participate in, as well as the Wyandotte County Mayors Association, or Wyandotte County Mayors group that meets regularly to communicate different important factors. This last 2 weeks ago, we had an opportunity to meet with our unified government leadership. Sean and I did, to discuss several different items very important to our community, some of which we've dealt with here this evening, the Bonner Crossing, as well as Lawrence Service Area, and a slew of other concerns that you're all well versed in. And we've made them known. Those are some of our concerns. We'll continue to do that. Sean's very good with communicating some of these specifics and setting out a plan for in the best interest of Bonner Springs. Something we have to continue to stay on top of. Not that our local community neighbors aren't invested members. They certainly are, but they have priorities that sometimes need to be reviewed in concerns with how they affect Bonner Springs. So, no significant problems right now. We're just working through a lot of those that continue. Nothing specific though. Any questions or concerns for me, the mayor? Seeing none, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and the happiest of holidays from myself, I'm sure the whole city council and the city staff in Bonner Springs. And thank everyone for a great decade in Bonner Springs, since this is our last meeting, and look forward to at least 4 more years into the next decade. So thank you all very much. On a side note, I will miss the next meeting. So
How about?
yeah. President of the council. Other than that, we stand adjourned.
If they've called school off for 2 hours tomorrow, that means drive safely tonight, because it's already